Yeah, so nice for all of you to be here and it's recorded. So if you're watching this later, you can treat it like it's live because we have a code that you can text us if you're interested. And then I saw a lot of people on the call who have listed. So some of you know about it. So for you, yeah, Jennifer's shaking her head. It's going to be an update. When I start my presentation, I'm not going to be able to see you. So if you have questions, I trust Michael or someone can stop me and let me know. I'm making the presentation portion shorter so that I could get questions for you guys. But just for actually, you know what? Maybe I'll give you the listed update of actually what's going on at the end too, and I'll just start with this presentation. But essentially, about eight, 8 to 10 months ago, as we were helping people on board with our listed app, we noticed that agents kept bringing up certain things. Does this integrate with my CRM or my database? Or do you do websites and other things? And either there were these huge systems that were so complicated that people were paying a lot of money for and then not using, we found, or it was oversimplified and then didn't do everything. So an agent told me this saying, which I never forgot, this idea of being $20 to death. I don't know if any of you can relate to that, but it sounds like with your business planning uh, seminar coming up and your systems and processes, and just year end, in January coming, it's a really good opportunity to kind of look at what you're using, what you're spending, and how your business works. So over this last 8 to 10 months, we thought, okay, listed is this conversation of the market that keeps you connected to your clients. But what if there was actually something that was just made for realtors that integrated and was fully interoperable with your other systems, but that helped you run your business? Okay, so that's going to be the focus of this presentation. And at the end, we actually have a quiz that you can take that says, hey, what systems are you using? And how do you compare, savings or losses by integrating them compared to either what you're using or what other people are offering out there? The other great thing about it is it really works well with the various coaching programs. So the business planning seminar you have coming up in the coach, we made it so that it would just integrate with anybody's system because they're giving you the idea of how to run and grow and scale your business. And then you just need these seamless tools kind of behind the scenes. So without further ado, let me share my screen. I'm just going to share the desktop because that's easier for me, I think. And then, oh, it's gray. Okay. Okay. Can you guys, okay, wait, that's actually not the presentation. Oh, here it is. Can you guys just see this thing that says listed on your screen? Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks. Okay. So for those of you who don't know what listed is, basically anybody, you, your clients, they walk down the street, all of you have one question in your mind right now looking at this picture. Well, maybe not looking at this picture, but if you're out on the street and saw a for sale sign, how much? That is all we want to know. How much, right? There was no quick, easy way to find out how much. So we created this app called Listed. It brings up the property in front of you, and then it does a whole lot more. But the important thing about it compared to all these other apps that'll bring up a property in front of you or you can search for is that in this case, your client is connected to you. So that was the main problem we wanted to solve was how can people stay connected to their own agent, essentially connect them to the market through their own agent. So your client's connected to you from every listing. And the key, unlike these other brokerage apps and whatnot that you could also be using yourself, you're now able to lock into your board, right? You can connect to the listing agent and your clients connect to you. So it just becomes totally useful. And this happens from every single listing. So your clients are connecting to you instead of somebody else on some other app. So we felt that was highly valuable. So we called Listed a kind of client love magnet because we didn't think there was something out there that would attract people to the inventory of the market through you, even if they're a seller and they just want to know, what the house down the way is selling for. So we thought of Listed as this client love magnet that's kind of an antidote to these other things that either compete with you because they show another agent or they just don't work as well. But let's get to the purpose. The real purpose is that Listed helps agents attract and retain business. Okay. So if you're attracting and retaining business, you're probably working by repeat and referral because that's how all the quality business comes. So if you're a repeat and for referral agent, you probably already know that you need a system or a database or a CRM. So where our Listed app, helped agents attract and retain business, which is really great. A new client signs up, somebody shares it with somebody else, they get connected to your client's sphere of influence. So you're getting new leads that are it's like digitally simple. But how do you manage that business? Okay. So think of Listed OS. We're actually working on a better name, Alex. I don't know. Listed OS was kind of lazy, but we just called it what it is, right? I mean, once you have business, if you don't have an operating system or what's more traditionally perhaps known as a CRM, which is a client relationship management tool, which at its really core, its brain is just a database. Because even if you just take one transaction, even a lease, you got to get the keys, you've got a closing, you got to manage checks, you got to manage all these things, right? So, what is that system that you're using? So we thought not only could you get a system to manage your business, but we could connect it to the system that helps you attract and retain business. So back down to how much, if somebody new goes to your new listing and scans the code and gets the listing page come up, that person, whether they follow you on social media or just get that page, can automatically populate in your CRM. Right. And if that person's under contract with another agent from another brokerage, they can give them a tag that's like, oh, not my client. But basically, you're not losing a lead ever, and you're finding a way to work really well with your colleagues to manage business. So, do I need a database? Right? I can't tell you how many agents, maybe this isn't any of you, say, oh, I got a system, I know what to do, etc. You know what? For sure. You could have a black notebook or any color notebook and a little pen and paper, and every day wake up in the morning and write stuff down. And that is literally a system, right? And that can work. And I actually think I actually have a paper and pen system that I use in tandem digitally. But whether you make a note in a calendar, just go to whatever calendar you have with whatever system and you write it down, that is a database. And I'm sure every one of you has heard, what is the best database? It's the one you use. And the reason there's that joke is because nobody wants to use it. It's always difficult, right? So I would argue that if you want to grow and scale your business, you do need a database because it just makes things more simple and efficient. So you're going to save time and money. So if all of a sudden, maybe you're not even sure, maybe you just want to say, is this the year? Is this the year I get a database? Especially after you have these courses that are coming up. Then the question is, which one do you choose? Okay. So I'm just going to take you to our website for the listed operating system here, which is, okay, there we go. So I'm going to share this link with you and you're going to have it at the end. And certainly if you're interested in a demo, like a one-on-one demo, we can share this with you. But really, the idea of an all-in-one real estate operating system was something in Canadian currency that's dependable, something that brings in all your systems and is not overcomplicated, but actually see these little icons that are swirling around, our listed logo. These are all the things from answering your calls, sending a text message, having basically a staff and an admin, even if it's just yourself in your system in your database, that can actually be automatically responding. So just to start with, like the reason people are wanting to do this is that agents are switching to a system that is automated, but also works with their manual systems. So besides the smarter follow-up of, for example, the birthday text or a birthday message or somebody's home anniversary, a lot of systems will just put it in, they have a generic text, and then it goes to the person or goes to their email. We at Listed always feel that every relationship is a human relationship, and technology is really just amplifying and leveraging that to make it easier. So we, for example, think you should get a text that says, I'm about to text your client's happy home anniversary. And you can just go send, or you can let it be automated. But putting little human parts in where you can say, yeah, that's still good. They didn't get divorced, nobody died, everything's okay, right? Because it just looks really bad if you have something automated that doesn't have that human touch and attention. We make marketing effortless here through this. So this is where we actually have some really cool integrations with Listed. In the app under the Me channel, there's actually now a tab called Marketing where you can make dynamic QR codes, you can personalize them. I know there's certain agents who pay for separate services to do dynamic links and QR codes and get a text back when something happens. So we're taking all these systems and bringing it under one roof and allowing that. So there are a lot of things you might find if you were to do a technical audit with us that you no longer need, or this already does, right? Or you just learn a better way from what we're doing to make what you have work better for you and not switch. Either way, it's just a win-win to take a look at your systems. The bottom point here is having your business fully organized, right? If you don't have your entire business organized, even if you're not losing business, it takes you more time. It's costing you expense in time and effort, and maybe that expense is even less time with your family or something. So it really kind of starts with, do you even have a way in or a website? You know, if you have the app, great. If you have Listed app, great. But whether you have your own website that you've already got or whether you want to bring it in under our umbrella, what's unique about our websites is all of them are unique. You don't pay this extra thousands of dollars to do a custom website. You actually work with us to have the site that you want in the way that it looks, everybody. Okay. Um, and then this idea of the image on the left where you're discovering a better way to run your business, it comes through your own flows. There's so many things with your business. Are you a selling agent primarily, or a buyer agent, or do leases, or do you have a special niche or area? So when you get this system, what happens is we ask you, what do you want to achieve? And in the first week, you're already achieving something. Because if we just gave you the system and left it to your own devices, most people don't use it. So let me just, I'm going to come back to this, but let me just move the Zoom control. Oh, can't move it. There we go. There is pricing at the top here. So let me just go here. All the stuff that I'm talking about gives pricing monthly or yearly at the top, but you get a plan comparison. So you can also look here on the left at all the things you have or use. I just realized, oh, did I hear someone? No. Okay. There are even some things on the left that we're missing. So I think it's really good to, like, I think one thing we're missing here is like media storage. Like there's a whole opportunity to organize your media and whatnot in here. But depending on what you need, whether you just need a website and a calendar that integrates, or whether you want to have a connect package that allows you to do a bunch of the things I'm going to talk about, or whether you want engage, where that's where you're making custom experiences with your people that you're attracting and retaining so you can stay in this loop of having customers for life that work into your repeat and referral business. So, for example, here's a great example. In the Engage package, there are somewhere down here, it's going to say dedicated account manager and strategy call. Actually, because Royal LePage Meadowtowne is a preferred listed partner, you get help anytime you need it on that package. Like you could have any extra strategy call. So you meet with your coach, they give you something to do, and we immediately connect it to your systems and it's happening, whether that's sending out a bi-monthly newsletter or creating an open house registry for your listing coming up, or getting your QR codes for your listed app on your listing, or whatever you're using. It all works in tandem. So I'm going to go back here. So this happens in these small ways, like whether you're doing your website or you're connecting all your social media, having your social media planner, keeping track of everything. Um, having a simple call text back, or when somebody calls, it can go to your office now and they can get a response, or it can go through to your phone, syncing your calendar with your whole database and your CRM. So whatever calendar you use and whatever you probably meet a lot of people in person, but whatever you're using, you connect it in one space. And if someone finds you from a video or on social media, they can book a time in your calendar. You can go meet with them. You can create this automated text callback. The open house visitor information is a good example of a single workflow that you could create for yourself. If you know you have a listing coming up, you create a QR code that would just sit up with your marketing that gives them everything that they need. Um, and when they scan it, they're automatically getting you coming into your database. There was an agent who had this and had a very special garden suite. So someone came into their open house, scanned the code to log in to their open house and register themselves. Um, they said that they had an agent, but they were interested in the garden house. So as soon as they sign up, they automatically get the garden house email sent to them with the plans. You could make it so that you have to approve that, but in her case, she just wanted it to go automatically to them. They had a tag that they had another agent, and after the open house, the agent followed up with the people that didn't have agents. And for the two people that had agents, the agent sent the garden suite and the other things to that agent. And one agent said to her, "Oh my God, I want to do every deal with you. This is so amazing." They were just amazed that their clients were out at an open house they didn't even know about. And already they're getting this full professional package from this agent. It just makes you look like such, a superhero. Um, Integrating your Google My Business or whatever you use for relationship management and reviews. We could even take your old handwritten letter that somebody sent you and put it on a site beautifully, because a lot of times you really just want that sentiment from your clients when other people are looking at how is this as an agent. We want to be able to connect that to your website and make it easy. Social media planner. Email marketing made simple. Okay, this was such a big pain in the butt. I don't know how many of you have email marketing that you send out physically to people, or you have a monthly newsletter, or you have what I know in the real estate board we had as notice pages before. Do you guys remember those notice pages? What is coming in about the next week, we should probably have this coordinated for the data coming back on. But basically, in listed, you're going to be able to just type C1 or Georgetown, the community, or actually draw a shape. Then you're going to have the ability to just go create newsletter, choose my audience. In Listed OS, you can make a smart list of the people who are meant to get that newsletter, the content of it that's dynamic from your real estate board or boards can come together and get sent to these people that are mainly cold outreach, right? Somebody lives in an area like, and you want to send that to them in Mississauga or Georgetown, and they're automatically getting it. But then you have the ability to make a segmented particular newsletter as well, like a seller guide or a buyer journey. But this email newsletter dealing particularly with the stats, it was nice to see Jason's stats, and any stats that you guys want, or Jason maybe should probably talk about this, but we have some basic stats of the market that you could just send someone. So when they're interested, if they're looking at selling in a couple of years, they've got that and they have your name at every touch. I think the other key is that you're automating and tracking every opportunity. So imagine all the people walking by your sign that scan it. Imagine going to the seller and having a dashboard that says, this many people were interested in this property, or this many on all your marketing, to have a code that when someone takes action, you just see the activity and interest on it, and you're not missing it. You can even schedule a text or an email or a push notification letting you know about any activity that you don't want to miss that a person took. Okay, so this is this idea of knowing when somebody clicks a link or somebody does something. Saving time with some ready-to-use templates. If you have something that you want to achieve, we help you make the template, we help you connect it, and once it's done, you've got it and it's yours. There's not a store of like hundreds of templates that don't relate to you, that are either in another country's language or not relatable to, say, Ontario or the niche area you're in. So we help you make that. And then making the workflows can be complicated, but the workflow is simply doing a flow diagram of, like, I'm sure each of you right now could just think of one customer. What is the journey with them? You can literally just tell us the journey on the phone in a 15-minute call. We'll map out the whole customer journey and create a workflow and then share it with you to see if we got it right. And then you're on fire. So it's not hard. The thing to succeed is you get this and then you book a call and then you're accountable to show up and make it happen. And then it happens. So it's getting this clear direction. And the majority of calls are one-to-one. We had agents request that they'd like to just drop in once a month to see what's new or how to make things work. So we're going to add that. But right now, you get a personalized call. And of course, it connects with your listed app. So let me just go back here to my presentation. So the system itself, you're always doing price and value. So whether you use our system or another person's or another company's system, you're just comparing price and value. So value always trumps price, right? Because if it's not working, who cares, right? You just want what works. But once it's working, or once there are a couple systems you like, I'm going to offer up the top level of what you want to know when you're comparing systems. First off, you want to own it. Like, you want to own it in a way where if you ever had to switch, it's not going to be a nightmare. Like, you don't want to be roped into somebody else's system and you don't want to be roped into some phone number. In our system, you can add your assistant or you can add a colleague. Like, you can have staff that you manage and it's unlimited. So when you add somebody on that number and on your company's number, we purchase a phone number for you and it goes with you. So if all of a sudden you got, I don't know, Follow Up Boss or some other program, you can port that number, right? And it's everything on your URL, which is really great. So at the end of this, if you just want to say, or maybe wait till your planning sessions come, but make a list of everything you spend money on. Because after you've attracted and retained clients, the only place to grow value in your business is either by reducing your expenses or increasing your effectiveness. So let's schedule, a value comparison of where you're at with what you're using. And it'll be valuable whether or not you use listed, right? It's just a valuable thing to do. And we're happy to do that. And I can't tell you how important the flow is. So if none of you have a mapped out flow journey of what it's like, this person doesn't have to represent just a single person. It can be a segment of your business. But we'd want to get like 1 to 3 segments of your business and just focus on the one you want to grow most, perhaps, or the one you're best at. Because when that is working smoothly, you're just going to find that you attract more business and you save time. You can ask yourself right now, do I have a good system? And the answer can be told, if you could bring an assistant in today with very little direction, you've got a great system. If that's not true, you probably need to reevaluate it. So, as always, here we go. If you don't have an Android, I don't know why it doesn't work on Android for so many things, but if you scan this code, it's going to allow you to say, hey, I'm interested. I want to secure my Royal LePage Meadowtowne today's date, 10/27, date with us. It's going to allow you to book a time in the calendar. You can be all excited and get ready. People who book for this week or next week, we're going to give you a preference. So you're going to get an even better rate than if you wait. But if you want to wait, you can book it into the new year. You can wait till you have these sessions coming up in November here. But when you book with us, we're going to show you the system inside of it. We're going to show you sample websites and we're going to walk you through your own process through the eyes of the system. So you'll either at the end of it be able to decide, I want to stay with what I've got, or I want to try this out. And you can totally try it out without any obligation. And you can get the Royal LePage Meadowtowne preferred rate, which is essentially going to give you something that you'll find out when you book your demo. not to keep it to the end, but it's going to be really great. And Royal LePage Meadowtowne is the only brokerage that has this preference currently for listed OS. That's partly because Alex and Jason are at the cutting edge of things. They reached out to me and I said, you know what? It's our first brokerage launch of listed OS. So we wanted to make sure that you guys have, the preferred benefit of it. On this note, I just want to finish this by saying sold data, okay, having access to sold data is probably so this is it, you guys. This is it. Access to sold data is probably the most important thing because no matter how great a system you're using, your clients are going to want to know how much something's sold for. It's the largest sort of attractor. The challenge we're having with TRREB is like an odd challenge because they so much see the utility, shall we say, of listed. They'd like to be a deeper part of it. So we're actually in talks with them about listed, and it already integrates with your board, whether it's PropTX or whether it's one of the other boards or any other board across Canada and soon to be in the US. But TRREB, we're working out something with TRREB. So at a minimum, your sold data is coming back. At a maximum, it would just be a deeper integration with greater opportunity. Okay. And I don't know what's going to happen yet, but for most of you, if any of you know me at all, anybody who's supported us up till now or paid for listed, you're going to be totally grandfathered in if something happens with TRREB where you're hugely benefited. Where if you paid in the last year, you'll either get it back or something will happen. But I think what's really going to happen with TRREB is they're just going to turn the data on, and then people are going to have an opportunity to pay for a preferred version. So I think any of you who currently have listed are in a good situation here. And having listed OS might be a way to just bring your entire system from having a conversation about the market to managing your whole business. So I hope that wasn't too long, Jason, but if people have questions or if they want to ask me something, that would be great. Or if I missed covering anything.